folks. Welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch. And you know what? Every single day I try to find a reason to fit it in. One of the greatest injustices in American history, the unfair prosecution of Roger Stone. The stories continue. The judge hated him. She took away his First Amendment rights the whole entire time. It's basically never happened to anyone. The jury forewoman apparently was tweeting about how much she hates him and Trump and everything. What. So, meantime, they were trying to give him 7 to 9 years, 40 months, $20,000 fine, 250 hours of community service. And to break it all down and break some big news exclusively right here on Liquid Lunch, Kristen Davis joins me. She is a longtime friend, confidant, associate of Roger Stone's, good friend of mine, and Frankie's also. Thank you for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. So, you know, we've been trying to bang the drum here every day with the Roger Stone and keep people aware of we need help, he needs advocacy. I'm hoping the president gives him a pardon, but what was strange to me is this one little rat, Randy Credico. He actually wrote a letter to the judge saying that he doesn't think Roger should go in jail. And now you're bringing us some exclusive conversations, communications between Randy and Roger.
He's also since taken back that letter in interviews since, taken back and said he felt obligated to do that. He didn't want the guilt. So he's full of lies, basically. I mean, I have prepared.
Thank you for not cursing there. I was appreciated.
I had a lot
I agree with
other
you.
things to say more.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I prepared a number of exhibits for the defense. And some of them were these texts. They didn't use them, unfortunately. I'm not quite sure why at the very last minute they chose not to. One of them says, just remember, do not name me as your connection to Assange. You had one before that you referred to.
So hang on a minute. These are actual text conversations between Randy Credico, the main rat in the case against Roger Stone, and Roger Stone.
This is from September 18, 2016.
Brian, do we have that one? Let's for the folks at home. So this is Randy Credico messaging Roger, remember, do not name me as your connection to Assange. You had one before that you referred to. So what does that exactly mean?
Well, I mean, Randy Credico has said on the stand and in interviews that he was not the intermediary between Roger and Assange. Clearly, nothing ever came from these communications, but he was pulling a dirty trick on Roger Stone. He was telling him that he was talking to Assange, interviewing him. I have pages of text to prove it, and not ever doing anything with that information. And then he went and he antagonized Roger. He gave those texts over to prosecutors, and that's how the charge happened. He went to the prosecutors and did that, like a typical snitch.
Well, you know, we've tried to have him on. We had this guy, John McDonough, on, who knows him. That's how we found out that he was going to write a letter for Roger. I guess John was his campaign manager years ago on one of his LARC. But this guy, you know, from how I know it, and I only know Roger for, I don't know, 12 or 13 years, but they've known each other forever. And I've had some volatile text fights with Roger myself. You say some crazy things once in a while. But I didn't read anywhere in there where Roger threatened them.
I don't believe, I mean, he said it was hyperbole. That's just how Roger talks. You know, he gets online, he gets banned from Twitter for threatening people and just going off, and that's just his personality. It wasn't meant as a threat. And I have all these texts where he's saying, you know, there's one here that says, don't tell anyone because Hillary Clinton will kill me. There's another one that says, if they're going to accuse you, they may as well accuse me. I would welcome it.
Wow.
So
they were like comrades in arms at one point.
Yeah. I mean, Credico hated Clinton, and so they joined forces together on that. They had some commonalities and different things in their life.
And that one there where he said, you know, don't say Clinton will kill me. That's Randy.
Right, and they're also talking about another Godfather reference, Luca Brasi, I believe. So this is just common in their thread. The prosecution tried to bring up, you know, the reference to doing Pantangeli on in front of the House as Roger being sort of organized crime.
They said Roger Stone did that. I said yeah.
Right. And it's a joke. It's an ongoing joke in the thread.
It's like a reference to a fictional movie. It's not a threat. It's like the craziest thing.
Right. It's just how they talk. And for whatever reason, the defense didn't use this. And they could have destroyed Credico on the stand. He's lied. He lies all the time. He's just, you know, a crappy comedian and a horrible person.
Yeah, and in the past you've had some correctional issues that
I
you've had to
have.
deal with, right?
I have.
That's a terrible experience, and
It is. I don't wish it on anyone. And, the thing about myself is I committed a crime and I deserve to go to prison. I took responsibility. Roger Stone has not. He's done nothing wrong.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because I know that at some point you took responsibility and served the time, right?
That's correct.
I don't see, I give Roger so much credit because I respect him. And he told me, I'm never pleading guilty to this because I didn't do anything. I interviewed him like a year ago at his house, and he said, I'm never pleading guilty. I don't care what happens. I didn't do any of this stuff here. There's a big difference between you and him because you admitted it. So you're okay, maybe you deserved it, or at least you believed you deserved to get it over with.
Right. And it's important to note in Roger's case, the two main prosecutors investigating him are Hillary Clinton people. Aaron Zelinsky is a career prosecutor. He worked for Clinton in the State Department. Jeannie Rhee was her personal attorney for the email scandal. So they should have never been in charge of investigating him to begin with. It's been tainted from day one.
Attorneys who are now working.
Correct. They were the ones that brought the charges and investigated him for 2 years.
The jury forewoman hated Trump. There's
right.
all
Called
kinds
him
of
the Klan president.
Yeah.
And all Republicans are racist.
So, we try to do all we can, but I'm always talking about StoneDefenseFund.com.
Right.
What's shocking to me is, forget about how they went and got him and they brought the SWAT team and the laser beams and all of that other stuff. But he's a 67-year-old, 68-year-old guy, and he never had a criminal offense, ever.
Right. They could have just called him and he would have self-surrendered, which I believe is what some of the other high-profile individuals involved in the Mueller investigation were given the opportunity to do. But they didn't want that. I mean, I do all of his media and PR. The morning of his arrest, every reporter is calling me saying his street's blocked off, I can't get on the street. But CNN is there in his driveway filming. So, it was done purposely.
Right before Roger got gagged, I had the last interview with him here on Newsmax on my show, What's the Deal? And he told me that he had irrefutable empirical evidence in a metadata from an email that was sent from a computer in the Department of Justice to someone at CNN with the indictment, and leaked to them that they were going to get Roger. That's how CNN was there a half hour before anyone.
Right, and I think
nobody's looking at that crime?
Bill Binney from the NSA has written letters to the judge helping Roger prepare a defense, but she denied any level of decent defense for him.
Well, let me ask you this. I personally was hoping Roger had the best defense around, and I was hoping he'd get a pardon. I was hoping he was acquitted, right? But I don't understand. I'm not an attorney, but how did his lawyers that represented him at trial not catch that this woman was so anti-Trump?
Well, they hired a jury consultant, and he didn't do enough due diligence. That's the bottom line. And she was using a different kind of name on Twitter. She's since deleted her Facebook, but she lied on the stand Tuesday. They had a hearing and they questioned her, and she told the judge, "No, I didn't tweet. Didn't relate to the morning of the verdict." And then on cross, she admitted that she tweeted a heart and a fist pump in solidarity for the verdict that was coming out, even though she was also instructed not to be on social media this whole time. So she broke a number of laws. She perjured herself on the stand, and the defense team was not allowed to continue to cross. She stopped that line of communication, the judge. So.
Well, let's hope the judge, who I don't think's been very fair here, but let's hope she's fair on this one. Maybe she'll grant Roger a new trial. If she doesn't grant him a new trial, then the story is...
President Trump needs to commute his sentence or pardon him. It needs to happen.
Or 2 weeks after he's going.
That's right. He's got 2 weeks from the time she decides.
Now, I want to ask you this. Apparently, I mean, at some point you were referred to as the Manhattan Madam, right? And you were like the biggest and the baddest of all. And
I still am in my own way.
Right, I'm saying, but not at that business anymore.
That's correct.
But you were actually like the inventor of Match.com before
Something
there was
like that.
before
Yes,
there
I
was
was.
a Match.com.
I certainly was.
Are you amazed by these advances in technology now that
Well, it certainly makes it harder to be a criminal, because everything is digital now. There's trails, but yes.
And you did all this with one little black book.
I did.
You
It was a
didn't need
big black
any
book,
telephone.
10,000 names. I mean, I have their credit cards. I just never outed anyone. I didn't want to ruin lives and ruin families. It's an industry I think that should be
Well,
legal.
Jeffrey Epstein's dead, or supposedly that's what
He wasn't
Frank
on the
thinks.
list.
He wasn't on the list?
I didn't deal in
Weinstein.
underage children.
Weinstein.
No, he
no
wasn't on the
Harvey
list either. I think he had enough power. He didn't
Trying to
really
get one
have
of
to
them,
pay
you know.
in cash.
Well, from what I remember from back in the day, one poor soul, one Elliot Spitzer, got
I'm the
himself-
poor soul.
Right,
I lost all my assets and went to Rikers, and he got a show on CNN for multiple millions of dollars.
But you did contribute to his demise.
I did, and that was fun. Roger Stone ran my campaign for governor, and he says it's one of the funnest times of his life.
Yep, that's for sure. Anything else you want to let our
No.
audience know about? Thank you so much for bringing us
StoneDefenseFund.com.
exclusive stuff. I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest travesties you've ever seen. No one in the whole Mueller probe has gone to jail, or I mean, Paul Manafort, but for a whole host of other things. But Roger Stone sits there facing prison. Hopefully, the president will come through and give him the pardon or commute a sentence. That's what I think is going to happen personally. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. You go to RogerStoneDefenseFund.com, StoneDefenseFund.com to help out Roger, because he's going to need it, or he'll get a pardon. We'll take a quick break. More Liquid Lunch coming at you right after this.